I'm on time this time. Oh my goodness. I was going to do this live yesterday, and if you came and were wondering what the dickens happened, I spaced. I totally spaced. I was just, don't even ask. My week has been crazy. It exploded on me, is what happened. My week absolutely exploded. So I've been having conversations in the background in life with Shelly from There's No Place Like Home and Debbie from Homeschool Dietitian and Emmy from Mainer Manor, the ladies that are usually on the 10 Hat Talks with me. And I guess I should turn that off, shouldn't I? Hopefully we won't have the sound. Everybody's always complaining about the sound. Hopefully that'll help. Oklahoma wind is to beat the band blowing. So if you can hear that, I'm sorry. I can't do anything about the Oklahoma wind. I am still eating my supper. I've got this honking bowl of something. Salad. Stuff. So, oh my goodness. You're here. I'm here. We're here. Finally, girl. Oh, heavens. We've been having these conversations in the background of, timelines. Really trying to go over the timelines and figure out what is going on, right? And I have had just this kind of saying because I sew. And I've been making the historical costumes since 1993. Okay. We had a reenactment of the Cherokee Strip land run out here in 1993. That was about the time that movie came out with Tom Cruise and what was her name? You guys will know which movie that is about the land run. They came over from Ireland and they were in the land run and blah, blah. Well, in 93, out here, just a few miles from me, not very far from me at all, just I'm trying to remember which pasture it was in, we had a reenactment. And I, with some friends, made costumes for our family. Our youngest actually wore her great-grandmother's baby dress. She was a baby at the time. Far and away, yes. Who was the female actress in that? It is on the tip of my tongue who that is. She's a good actress. I like her. But I cannot remember her name for the life of me. But yes, far and away. And anyway, we had the reenactment. My mother made herself a riding habit and a Western shirt. And I made a prairie dress for my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law rode in a wagon and my mother rode her horse. Nicole Kidman. Yes, exactly. Okay. You guys are so much help. Not that really. So, yeah, I've been making historical costumes for a long time. And during the whole 2020 debacle, a whole bunch of historical costumers popped online, showed up online, and ended up going viral. And I could name off a few, if you know, you know. And there's been a lot of controversy in amongst some of the stuff that they do because of the whole, them trying to be woke, and you can't make woke people happy. Okay. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're going into historical stuff, somebody's going to be unhappy. But they tiptoe around each other trying to make everybody happy. I am not, for any reason, shape, or form, going to try to make anybody happy today whenever we are talking about historical stuff. I have Native American and Irish and Norse, and all kinds of background. I am Heinz 57 sauce here. Okay, there is no telling what all is in my background. And just because my skin happens to be as white as paper, anybody who wants to say that I am racist in this thing can just move on, because I have been called a half-breed before because of the Native American side of things, and this is Oklahoma, and it was Indian territory out here, and we just anyway, and I'm also it was KKK people and the Elks in Northwest Oklahoma. One of the biggest PRCA rodeos is in Woodward, Oklahoma, put on by the Elks. And in the early 1900s, they had a KKK parade float. Okay. It's a fact. There is a photo of it hidden away in the Plains Indian and Pioneer Museum in Woodward, Oklahoma. It's part of our history, whether any of us like it or not. It's a fact. Okay. I am pretty sure I've got Native American on both sides of the family. I'm pretty sure on one side of the family that a great grandmother was sold by her family to an Irishman that came out here and settled. So there's a lot to go. There's a lot there. You know what I'm saying? But during this whole mud flood and timeline questioning thing that we've had going on, I've been saying that, for thousands and thousands of years, we supposedly were wearing nothing but robes, and all of the sudden in like the 1600s, buttons and buckles were invented and fashion completely changed. Well, we were taught wrong. Are you surprised? Are you the least bit surprised that we were lied to about anything to do with our history? Because there was part of me that is like, it's hard to take sometimes. It's hard to take. I mean, you've been lied to, especially if you're in this area of research that is going on. Nothing surprises me anymore. Exactly. It's like, but at the same time, it's like, I'm just sitting here and my brain is like, glitching, kind of. It's like a glitch in the matrix, right? And my brain is going, because there are so many aspects to this. As we were looking for a home church, we ended up in a holiness church for a little while, and sweet, precious, precious people. But there was a big thing on modesty, and how modesty means women wear dresses or skirts and men wear pants. And they go back to the verse in the Bible in Deuteronomy that says a woman should not wear men's clothes and men should not wear women's clothes. And my thought process back then was, but they all wore robes. So what was the difference? You know what I'm saying? If they were all basically wearing robes, what was the difference between the men's clothes and the women's clothes? It wasn't pink and blue, because pink and blue has meant different things. It hasn't always been the gender thing that it is for us today. Okay. Lots of men have worn pink. As a matter of fact, if you are a man and you are man enough to wear pink, I applaud you, because I think there is nothing better looking than a man in a pink Western shirt. Rock it, guys. Totally rock it. And why is it that men aren't supposed to wear pink and purple, but women can wear anything? It just doesn't make sense with the scripture and what we've been taught, and then the historical background. So if I can get my computer and the software to work with me here, because I know we've had problems with me trying to share screen before. I am just hoping that this will work. Why would you just do one thing? Entire screen. Let's do this. And while I'm doing this, I am not going to be able to see your comments. So I'll go back and check your comments as I can. But I need to know if you can see this. So I'm going to check the comments. Can you see this? Oh, come on, Nina. My brain has so not been. I'm gonna put your comments over here, and then I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller and open it up. And it says that I'm sharing the screen. So can you guys see? Yeah, purple means royalty. So why would they think that would be? But today, and of course, the local school here, their colors are purple. So all the football guys wear purple. And they were purple over Friday and all that kind of stuff. So, okay. Can you guys see my Pinterest thing here? I'm hoping you can see it. The first thing that I kind of wanted to go through is like art. So I just kind of typed in Pinterest, children's art. And I'm going to get a bite to eat. I'm starving. And I've been so busy today. I haven't stopped. And yes, I eat while I'm doing these. And so if you don't like that, don't take time to leave a comment and tell me, because I'm going to eat anyway. So just move on. Besides, it's good. Okay. Thank you, Heidi. So if we go through art today, and not all of this is children's art. Obviously, a child did not do this. But art for children, I think, is what it kind of took with some of it. But if we just look at art today, we see there are a lot of different styles of art. This looks like something a child might do. This looks like something a child might do. Okay, but we've got different art styles. I mean, this here is kind of a completely different art style than this, right? Or this. We've got all kinds of different art styles. I mean, that is an interesting piece of art. We've got different things that we can do art with, right? There's historically there have been tapestries, there's been paintings, there's been mosaics, there's sculptures, paintings, carvings, all kinds of different things. We have a child's piece of art, right? That must be an older one because the sun's actually yellow in that one. It's kind of orangey. I don't know. Maybe it is but I don't know that the children these days would know that the sky was the blue and the sun was yellow, because that's not what we see usually anymore. So lots of different styles of art, right? Here, that looks like almost like a mixed media piece, Lots of different styles. So if you think of art today, we think of a lot of different things and how art can be done. And I'm an artist, and I can do, like do art out of dots, do art out of lines. And that kind of looks like a paper mache portrait compared to stuff like, this, right? And if we go through different time periods, Wikipedia is kind of handy sometimes. I have got so many windows open. Let's see. Are you going to give something? Let me see a picture. That's interesting. Interesting indeed. Wow. And that is supposed to be 13th century wooden statue. So we've got wooden carvings and things. Okay. We've got, let's look up 1780s. Oh, come on. It's moving around. Oh, okay. Paintings. Are you going to give me something? How many times do I have to click something? There we go. Maybe it would give me a... Okay. It's going to pop up with that. Okay, there's something. There's... Okay. Look at the different styles here. Yeah, I mean, the detail in this kind of stuff is, that's disgusting. And this kind of stuff. And whenever they analyze these, trying to, okay, there's a completely different kind of art. You know, so we've got different kinds of art that we apply to different time periods, to different, there's a completely different kind of art, right? To different areas of the world. Okay. Okay, so we've got like a completely different hairstyle, and it looks like we've got big buttons or pom-poms on that, plus the ruff around the neck, which that one actually looks like a big turtleneck type thing, maybe out of fur or something. Kind of different. And this is 1600s. So, you know, and each person is going to have a different style, right? So we've got 1600s. Yeah, that's annoying me. Let's try 14th century. Oh, that's not going to pull up something. So we've got Gothic art. Let's just look at pages. Goodness. Okay, I've got grandchild in the background too. So here is supposedly 1300s, right? Supposedly 1300s. There are so many depictions of like the Last Supper and the Madonna and stuff throughout the ages. What if, here's my thing, what if these are actually all just different art styles? I mean, is that so hard to get? Architect paintings? Good grief. Here we go. There's somebody. Oh, that looks interesting. Yeah, I mean, because if you stuck 15 children in an art class and told them all to do a depiction of, you know, some local event, 4th of July parade, let's just say that, here in America, that would be kind of a big thing. Let's look that dude up. How many different variations would you get? Unless they're copying after each other, you're going to get a huge variety of things. So here we've got the fish hat that we all know and love, right? Who's to say this is actually a Catholic thing? Okay, and I'm just hypothetical here. Could this be something from Nineveh? We know people in Nineveh were worshiping Dagon, fish god thing, and this is where supposedly this fish hat thing goes. And I know we see this today in the Catholic Church, but they got it from somewhere, right? So who's to say this is from the time period 1412 that we say it is? And this looks like it's inlaid with gold. Okay, it is. It's tooled gold on a poplar wood panel. Tempera and tooled gold on a panel. Tempera and gold on a panel. And I mean, that's intricate. And this is 1400. This is a time period, during the quote unquote dark ages, when supposedly all people could do was starve, fight, and build huge cathedrals and do this kind of art all over the place, right? This is either a lot older than they think it is, or what was going on in the 1400s wasn't what they say it is. It's interesting. And we take this art today and we're saying this all has to do with the saints. Okay, with what happened to people at a certain time. Let's see. This is created 1435. We know exactly when it was created. Isn't that amazing? It's in a chapel at the Church of the Holy Apostles. And it's, various martyrs basically going on here. And maybe it is. I'm not saying that it's not. But could this just be somebody's depiction of something that was happening at some point in time? And it's maybe not necessarily the time period that they're given. We have prophetic art. Here's another thought. And I'm just rambling, guys, because it's been a week and I'm just going to ramble. So tell me what you think of this. Today we have prophetic art, where we're trying to depict, a visual representation of revelation and stuff. So we will get prophetic art, and they had prophetic art. There's older prophetic art depicting the dragon with the 7 heads and the 10 horns and all that kind of stuff. Everybody does it, right? But who's to say that where they're placing this in history is exactly where it is? That's an amazing piece. I'm going to get sidetracked. Virgin in the Garden of Paradise. She's huge compared to this wall that, makes you wonder. And here we have these things, whatever they are. Could some of this be preserved pre-flood art? I mean, could it be, we're trying to put things in an older time period, right? And definitely think of this as medieval. Okay. She's got the head covering here. What I've noticed here, I'm going to pull this up a little closer. What I'm noticing is a lot of these where they've got these interesting head coverings on. She does show hair. It shows hair. But they've got these really, really high, hairlines. And I've got a big forehead, guys. But some of these are, way out there. Let's see. There's... You know what I'm saying? Okay. So here's my Pinterest boards. And I've been pulling up head coverings. Interesting. Let's just look at these. Okay, so we've got this one. We've got some head coverings. We're trying to, I don't have very many here. Some interesting, here's a woman in pants and kind of like a vest. And here is a woman that looks very, very similar. So open a new tab and let's look at this one. What does it say about it? And some of them, they don't give much information, which is kind of annoying. I'm gonna go to anything. Nope. Oh yeah, did 17th century oil canvas. So this is from the 1600s. She's got these platform heel type shoes on. Okay, and this was in the 1600s. Okay, let's see what they say about this one. This is Turkey, official Turkey, blah 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 blah, Istanbul. Let's see what it says about it. It's not going to give me any information about that one. But that almost looks Asian to me. You know what I'm saying? So time period, we don't know what the time period is on this. But it looks very Asian to me compared to, this one, the other one. You know what I'm saying? And we start pulling these up and look at the different options that we can get of that kind of stuff. And she obviously has some closures on her vest here. It looks a lot like buttons to me. Okay. It looks like she's got a watch on. Maybe not. It might just be bracelets. Might be bracelets. The necklace. Very interesting. These huge sleeves going on. Again, a lot of bracelets. Can't really tell what the closures are here. It almost looks like it could be buttons. Okay. Very interesting. Very, very Asian looking to me. All right. Let's see. Pilgrims. Oh, the music. Yes. Oh, yeah. What we consider medieval music and the. I'm a big lover of classical music. I really am. So, Moorish woman in Italy, 1550s, oil canvas. So she has a very Grecian looking scenario going on. It's really, she's decorated here in a very robe-like appearance. We can't see the rest of the dress, so we don't know what else is going on. But here is, that looks like almost Regency. That definitely looks Regency. And here's part of what I'm going for here is when you look at, supposedly the Regency was emulating old Roman stuff. You have the Roman baths. When you read Jane Austen or watch, Jane Austen reenactments and stuff, if you look at the clothing and the architecture that the settings are in, it's very Greek Roman, very, very Greek Romanesque type stuff, very Regency. So is the Regency and the Greek and Roman stuff, is it really, completely separate time periods? Or do we have different art styles going on explaining it? You know what I'm saying? So let's see. Okay, where was I? You guys will get a kick out of this. Okay, so is this a joke? Or, and there's a whole thing here. This is a whole thing. It's like a book, okay? That they had like alligator stuff going on with this. Some really interesting, see, they're writing the alligators there. There's a whole like alligator. Yeah. And, you know, as I used to do tarot readings, so I mean, I grew up with that kind of stuff. But, you know, what are they depicting actually whenever it's coming down to it? And why are it's not, but here we've got the tail of, there's just, yeah, very, very interesting stuff. Why are they depicting it that way? Anyway, very interesting. Was not what I was wanting. Open close tab. Was there? I'm getting sidetracked, guys. It's no, that's not what we're doing. There we go. That sound interesting. That's something else going on. Cartography, the cryptids. Oh, this was interesting. I think I made this found interesting board public for you guys. Yeah, serpent seed attire. And some of it's showing like, I mean, like it's part of their bodies too. This is a bunch of medieval art, supposedly medieval art, with dragons in it. And it's mostly women with the dragons, was what I was really noticing, which I found very interesting. Like this one. He looks like he's eating her dress or something. And why do we've got like a cross, we've got the little halo around her head, and we have this beast with her. You know what I'm saying? It's just, what on earth is going on? What is this thing? Oh my goodness. There is so much. Oh, she's getting her tooth pulled. That's always there's another one. Getting the tooth pulled. That would be the Dickens. I'd just about do that then, and instead of, oh yes, this dude. Isn't that nice? I may have to put a warning on this. That's disgusting. What? You know what I'm saying? I mean, there are some issues with some of this stuff. Yeah, does the bloodline come through the matriarchy? Well, we definitely know there is an issue with that, don't we? She's been hung. And some of the stuff that is in the manuscripts is also very, oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what's going on with this nonsense? There's a lot. I also found a whole bunch with unicorns. See, they usually put the unicorns with a cloven hoof, more like a goat in a lot of ways. A lot of times they'll have more of a goat's tail as well. I don't know that doesn't say what the date is on that one. Aha, here's some of the stuff that I was kind of looking at. You can kind of see a hairline with that one and that headdress. But some of them, it's really hard. Does she have hair? Maybe just a little bit. There might be a little bit of a hairline. She's having a little bit of a problem there. There's a hairline in that one. But look at the eyes on these. The hairline's really pulled back on these. But look at the eyes on those. Does it give us no information? The hairline is really back. So they could just have hair really pulled back. Let's see. Medieval Dark Ages. I think this is where I actually want to be. Okay. That, to me, looks like a horn. I don't know. It might not be, but it just, the way the color changes here. I thought I could just flip through from one to another, but I guess it's not going to let me. There might be a little bit of a hairline here, but look how far back this goes. You see what I'm saying? That you're wondering if these have, and then you've got this crazy hat going on here. This one, okay, they look like they're bald to me. They've got these big hats going on, and that looks bald to me. And then I found these where they're like two different colors. And I know there's supposedly a story with this, but it's interesting. I'm just, if we're looking at this without looking at the story that goes with it, then what are we getting? You know what I'm saying? Is that where I wanted to be? Okay. Open a new tab. These were the ones that were really interesting. Open a new tab. Oh, this one definitely. Try to get these bigger so you guys can see these. I'll just. Okay. Again, can't figure out, where's the hairline? Maybe it's there. But this looks like horns to me. Is she hiding horns under there? I'm not saying that's what it is, but it just, this one, there's another one. Very, very high forehead. And then these things. You know what I'm saying? That's showing a hairline, but it looks like a newer piece. That shows a little bit of a hairline there. I wonder what she's holding. That almost looks like she's got a tooth there. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows what they got going on. And it doesn't always pull up the... Here's one. She's riding a goat. So they have seamstresses that do all of these garments like magical fingers. I know. I mean, and the pieces, that's $14.50. The pieces that are left, here we've got some closures. I'll get to some of my others here in a minute. Again, the way these heads look, just really. And this one, I mean, I don't know. They all look like they've got horns to me. I may be totally off, but it just, what would ever make you think that wearing one of those tall, pointy hats would be conducive. I mean, maybe that's why they had the big doors. That's it. They had those great, big, huge doors so that these gals could walk through without hitting their hats. Is that what it was? I'm just, oh my goodness. See, here we have those high waistlines like the Regency era. So, like I'm saying, is it just a different time period? And the Regency era had some pretty interesting hats going on too. This one, does this not look like she's got horns out of her head instead of hair? It just does to me. And then she's got like these little pom-poms or something going on here on her outfit. It just, oh, here's another one of her. That's the more full picture of what's going on with her. And I mean, you've got like 3 layers. You've got like an inside lining here of this green dress. And then you've got this going on with all of the fringe. And I mean, and she's got a whole entourage going with her. And the horse is even decorated. So I realize there can be artistic license with these things. Yeah, like in the days of Noah mingled their seeds. I think we have a lot more of this now than what people realize, because if a child is born today with it, medically it's taken care of pretty quickly, usually, right? So I don't know that we would know a lot of times what's going on. But again, this is, we could call this hairdo, maybe. Oh, this one was interesting. They're all up in a tree. Again, they don't look like they have hair. That hairline's going back really far there. Not all of them have like pointy hats or anything. Some have a smaller. She looks like maybe she's got a ponytail going on here. But they're all up in a tree. So I'm sure there's something more to it than, oh, there's the whole piece. They've got cradles up here too. It makes you wonder what the story is. And then back here in the background, you've got cities and towers and stuff in the background, right? A lot of veils. Yeah, like they were trying to cover things. So here we've got medieval art, and it's amazing how much gold was used in the artwork. The tapestries often had gold thread that was used. What fragments of fabric are left, there's gold threads, like real gold threads used. I have some like gold thread that I use in some of the embroidery and stuff that I do, but you know what I'm saying? So you've got Byzantine art, pre-Romanesque, of course. So this is in 1261, supposedly. And I'm not saying some of this isn't what it is, but what else is going on and what does it kind of look like at the same time? You know what I'm saying? It just, we've got a lot of guys. The guy at my lunch break, he's doing an excellent job with his stuff. And of course, Shelly always brings up some interesting things, which the video that she had, was it yesterday or the day before, that said that we were going to be doing a 10 hat talk. She did that for her Patreon members before, and you guys might have seen she was going to post something about it. So anyway, it made me feel good that she posted that and had forgotten that she'd said anything. I'm not the only one that is totally messed up this week. Okay. So, okay, they're saying this is from the 1200s, but I would easily take something like this. And if I was just looking at it, I would say, okay, there are those mosaics from Jesus time period that they're excavating now that look very similar to this to me. You know what I'm saying? So they're saying 1200s with this. Why? You know, because it's got to fit into some story with the buildings and stuff around it. If they put this in the time period that they would have put it in a different part of the world, then, you know, they would have to give it a different story, right? And then I'm wondering how many of these paintings and stuff are showing like some of these buildings and things, and then what the clothing looks like with the buildings to put, you know, a lot of this together. What did it look like in the mosaics and paintings and tapestries, and what was surrounding it, and what were the size of the people? You know, and I know there's perspective and stuff whenever you're doing some of this. There's a lot of, that's a like huge city in that one. Look at that. Wow. And we've got several different styles of clothing in here. I mean, if you think about it today, we have a lot of different styles of clothing today. You know, he looks like he's got a hoodie on. They got little hats. I mean, there's a lot going on in there. You know what I'm saying? So if we can start putting some of this stuff together, and then you have the books and the art that goes in the books, and then you have these carvings. These are usually wood. I mean, they are so intricate. This stuff just amazes me. Look how intricate. Tiny. That looks like a whole bunch of books in there, or maybe it's blocks. And look at the size of this compared to these. And they may have, you know, it may just be an altar piece or something that they're showing. But I mean, and I'm definitely not a wood carver, but that is very, very intricate. That one looks like it's got a book, maybe. They're holding different things. Isn't that interesting? And I mean, I know some people have got amazing talent, but you don't see this kind of stuff all the time now. But here we've got, you know, we've got the baby. We've got supposedly Mary and Joseph and an angel back here. And there's, I think, a wise man and maybe a shepherd. I don't know. And then we've got like a building falling down in the background or something. Isn't that strange? Why would you carve something that way? And we have Mary and Joseph in a brick scenario. Look at that in this carving. That is definitely depicting brick, right? Baron Trump is 6'7". Really? I have a friend who is 6'6". A woman friend, actually, that is 6'6". Gorgeous. She has a lovely personality. Sweet, Bible-believing woman. And she's very big. My mother was about 6 foot tall. She was very big as well. So, okay, I can see like a high schooler being able to do something like that. Maybe even a middle schooler being able to do something like this. Early Middle Ages. This is a mosaic. Yep, see? Mosaic. Wow. Let's see, what's your time period with this one? 400 76 AD. I don't know if that's the, yep. I was the runt in the family. Our oldest is the shortest one in our family. Isn't that funny? And the youngest two are actually the taller. Our younger son is taller than our older son, and our youngest daughter is the tallest of our daughters, and our oldest daughter is the shortest. As a matter of fact, all of the children call our oldest daughter Hobbit. Too funny. So they're sticking these in time periods, and I'm just sitting here saying different art styles. I could see something like this being like 70s art. Okay. Just think of some of those old records, right? Oh, hi, Emmy. You're the shortest in your family too. Yeah, you and Catherine are about the same height, I think. So I can see this as like a similar art style to like the old, some of the old vinyl record covers, or some of the old Lord of the Rings illustrations, things like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, different people have different art styles. So this almost looks like it's going backwards in time instead of forward compared to that other stuff. And then you have the Byzantine stuff, which is like beyond. We can't recreate Byzantine. You know what I'm saying? And like this right here, to rebuild my house these days, just think of the cost. You know, it's not a huge house. It's not anything super fancy, but oh my goodness. And they were popping these out all over the place. Honestly, I think it would take more than 1,000 years to build all of these things that they say were built in that time period. But if you took this out of the context of where it supposedly is, and you said, hey, this comes from Babylonian time period, could you believe it? Yeah, everything made of plastic nowadays. I have to agree. Yes. And even, I don't know, even the wood that you get now, it just doesn't seem like it's a value. But I mean, if you stuck this in Mexico, you would say it was what, maybe 1800s ish. If you stuck it in Iraq, you might be able to put it as far back as, you know, Babylonian kingdom, maybe. You know what I'm saying? And then the Romanesque. See, this so does not. But this right here, I mean, that looks much older to me than Romanesque. I don't know. And then here again, we've got this very intricate carving going on with this. Yeah, we have decades of this barium of the barium and aluminum metal particles. I know. And it's cloud seeding. Oh, look what she's standing on, guys. Oh, both of them. So seriously, you're going to put Jesus in between, who is it, the two Marys or something? And they've got, why? What if the story is something completely different than what we are thinking it is? And maybe what if all of these depictions of Yeshua, Jesus, and all of the depictions of the martyrs and the, he's sitting on a skull here. That's amazing. All of the depictions of the saints and the martyrs and all this kind of stuff. What if it was all of that art was done within like a much shorter time period? And it was all different artists depicting the same thing from in different styles. Yes, Isaiah 52. Yep, almost. Oops, where'd it go? Show that one. Yes, exactly. Oh, the angels letting Peter and Paul out of prison. That doesn't look like the kind of prison you're thinking about. But I noticed that some of the stuff that I was reading, it was saying they set it in their own place and time. So, some of this was like a German or a Spanish depiction of what was happening, and they were putting it in their own, in their own time period, and their own, making it look, which, they could, but honestly, if we were to depict Yeshua in today, how would we depict him? We would turn around and depict him in what we have been told was what Jerusalem looked like at that time, right? We would have, they kind of do have, people in robes. That's what we think of. Here we've got gold inlay on some of this stuff, right? So, but it looks a little bit more like tunics on some of this compared to the robes, right? A little bit different. Why only 66 books? That is the question of the day. Oops. Hi. Okay. Why only 66 books? Wow. Emeralds. That's my favorite. Oh, that's gorgeous. Wow. Metalwork. You don't see that kind of stuff today. Emeralds, and it looks like maybe some sapphire. They may just be blue beryl. Oh. Amazing. Here's another one. They've all got the robes on here. And to put robes on things, the ones that haven't lasted as well. How many of those were made later just to make us think that all they were wearing was robes? It's a mosaic. Another mosaic. So many mosaics. And mosaics do not go fast. It takes time to do all of those little bitty pieces to make a mosaic. And that wood? That's ivory, I guess. Wow. Out of a tusk or something. Wow. I just like looking at art anyway, so this gives me kind of an excuse. Here, we've got all the robes on, but these robes and the way they're depicting this fabric, this is very, very flowy fabric. It's like there's a lot of fabric in here to make it bunch up the way it is. And, cotton and linen definitely doesn't lay like this. Linen doesn't lay like this. I don't even think it would lay like that even if it was wet, okay? And cotton isn't usually going to lay like this unless it is very, very thin, and then it's still not. If you think about the clothes that you have, if you want something that's going to be like very flowy and drapey like that, you're going to go toward like a rayon or a very, very, very thin silk. You know what I'm saying? This isn't going to be, the dogs are going off because somebody's driven up. this is going to be, this isn't going to be wool. This isn't wool. You know what I'm saying? This isn't linen. This isn't cotton. That's not how it lays. So what is it? And then all of these colors. And do you know with ink and a quill pen how hard it would be to get these different colors in here and not get them running into each other? Okay. Are any of you artists in here? Yeah, not made of sheep's wool. I mean, I've not seen, like Angora or anything like that that's going to have that kind of a drape. It would be like rayon or maybe a really fine silk. Silk even tends to be, stiff, naturally stiff. But so much of this is showing, lots of gathers and drape and stuff. I don't know. Some of the people who are thinking that all of this was built during the millennial reign, I'm not going to say it wasn't, but there's, and it would kind of make sense that we've got so many things that look very, very similar. In just like the different, even in all of the different art styles, the depictions of Yeshua look very, very similar, right? So maybe, and maybe this meant something different than what it means today. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I'll say this, Satan likes to warp things. He's wicked. And wicked means like the wick of a candle is twisted. In order to make a wick in a candle and it's going to work properly, it has to be, the fibers have to be twisted together. That's what wicked means. It means twisted. And anything that the enemy does, he warps and twists what God made, right? So hand signals, and my family makes fun of me because I've got some things that I do with my hands whenever I'm talking with my hands, and they're like, Illuminati, Mason, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure I'll have people in the comments at some point in time that are going to poke at me and tell me that, I mean, I've already been told that I'm esoteric and blah, blah, blah. But, like this right here looks very Persian to me. So I would take this, if I know nothing about this right here, I would not put this in the Middle Ages at all. I would put this in the Persian Empire. And I've kind of talked about that in a version about the architecture and how the architecture may be much older than what we think. And people trying to say that all of this was made in either the millennial reign or all in the Dark Ages or whatever. I'm like, I think that looks Persian to me. So I would put that in the Persian Empire, because I do believe that whenever God said that kingdoms would come and rule basically the world, that's what he meant. So we know that the Egyptians ruled the whole world at the time, the whole thing, basically. They had a presence in the whole, it was an empire, a worldwide empire. So we have Egyptian stuff all over the place. So I'm not going to say that somebody later on was copying Egyptian stuff, but I'm not saying that they couldn't have been copying Egyptian stuff either. Okay. But I do believe that we should see evidence, and we do, of Egyptian things throughout the world, or Egyptian type things. And we do. We see Babylonian type architecture all over the world, step pyramids and things like that, all over the world. Some of the carvings of like dragons and different creatures and stuff, we see those all over the world. It may be a little different from one country to another, but you would have influences of different things in different places. And again, you've got different artistic styles, right? But we still see Babylonian type architecture all over the world. And in Daniel's dream, you had the head of gold, which was Babylon and Nebuchadnezzar. And then you had the Medes and the Persians, the arms and chest of silver, right? And as you're going down, you have these different empires. And I definitely believe so. It would be the same with the art, right? That's going on. You've got different styles of art in each of these, that some of these may be way older and may not have the meanings that we think they have, right? Who's to say the Romans were the only ones that used crosses? I definitely don't think so. We know that Germany was not the only one that used a swastika type symbol. And that symbol is the Big Dipper going around the Northern Star, is basically a compass, right? So here they've added in this, they have added these. Those are not original to what this was, right? These probably aren't original either, these chandeliers. But this intricate, fencing or railing around here, very, very intricate. And the way these angels are depicted in here, and all of this intricate patterning, that if this was in a different scenario, we might put this into like the 1920s time period or something. It's just depending on where the stuff is, how it's presented, what part of the world it is. So anyway, I was doing fashion. Let's see. I was going to pull up. I've got so many saved. Let's see. I was going to go to. I've got so many boards. Can you tell that I am addicted to Pinterest? I am extremely addicted. Don't judge me. Well, you can judge me if you want to. Let's see. Got underpinnings. Let's see. Crafts. Costumes. I don't think that's it. I have so much stuff in here, it's ridiculous. Pictographs. I guess that's all I've got in that one. Yeah. Let's see. I did have. Nope, that's not it. I am so unorganized, girls. I seriously. What did I do with the. Let's see. I can go. Medieval. I know I've got these somewhere, but I don't know where they're at. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, here we go. All kinds of activity going on outside. Okay, look at that. Does that look like buttons to you guys? 15th century, so that means it's the 1400s. And we've got buttons. We have this little bolero jacket with these interesting sleeves. And then we have this right here. It says 1547, but I don't think that's the case. I don't know. Maybe it is. That looks very much like the fashion plates from the early 1800s, but it might not be. And we've got these ties that have these little clasps and buttons on these. So much of the medieval stuff to me looks like the 16, 17, and 1800s, you know, the later than it's supposed to be to me. There she even did like the button scenario on her sleeves when she recreated it. These are interesting whenever they do these. And they show you several different, again, we get the horns. I'm sorry, that's what it makes me think of. It seriously, seriously does. And would it have been the women that ended up with more of that kind of an issue than the men? I mean, some of the men have kind of got hats on. They look like little bowler hats in that one. Okay, here's a fashion plate type thing. It doesn't give us a time period on that. But you see what I'm saying? So if we go, let's look at like Regency fashion plates. Those are Regency. These are more closer to Regency. So you got that right there. You got the higher waist thing. Let's see. There's the earth. Two different things. I don't know. Maybe so, Heidi. The world and the earth, two different things. Biblically speaking, both words basically come from the same etymology. As a matter of fact, let's look it up. We're just rambling here, so why not, right? Okay. Bible Hub Lexicon World. Let's see what it brings us. Okay. I'd like to bring up both the world. Here we have one from the Greek. Cosmos. World, universe, worldly affairs, inhabitants, world adornment. That's interesting. Okay. There you have the Greek. So world, cosmos. And Genesis created the heavens and the earth. This one up. Eretz. And I'm probably not saying that right. Earth or land. Can mean countries, distance, dust, ground, floor, land. This is what you're standing on. Territories, okay, world. So let's see. Let's go to Bible Gateway. World. Okay, let's lexicon. Got this one. And we'll grab $28.99. Cosmos, world. And then let's see, Earth. Let's find a New Testament. Earth. I hate to use Matthew because let's use Mark. Okay, let's do Earth. Okay. Okay, let's looky here. And on Earth. Earth, G. Probably not saying that right, like I said. Earth, soil, land, region, country, inhabitants. Okay, same as the Hebrew for land. So, and we need, let's see, Hebrew, let's see. World. Did we look up the... Trying to remember. Heavens and the earth. Okay, we didn't look that one up. So let's look up this one. Genesis 49:26. Oh, good one. 49:26. All right, and we're going to look up. Hey, pop-up ads. Blessings and father has some crown the head distinguished. Did I look the right thing? 49:26. Mustang Hills. Huh. I don't see it in that one. Let's try Exodus. Let's see. Okay. For this reason, we're playing through all the earth. Here we have earth, Eretz, earth, land, common, countrysides, difference. Okay. World, territories. So earth and land really are basically the same thing, as far as the Bible is concerned. I'm sure it depends on which, context that you're talking about. This one's a little bit more vague, but it's saying that this one is the world. So, and the inhabitants of the world. So, yeah. Anyway, a little bit of a sidetrack. Maybe that helps. Yeah, just trying desperately to find out everything they lied to us about. I think the answer to that, Annie, is just everything. Isn't that terrible? Veering off of the subject. Hey, this is the live stream that we absolutely will veer off of this subject. Okay, how about that? We totally have permission to do that here. If we went back and looked at some of those medieval paintings, is this that much different? I mean, to you guys, do you really see? I mean, I know they were trying to look Romanesque and all of that kind of stuff. But does it look that much different? Because this early 1800s is about the time that supposedly that meteor shower that Shelley had talked about in the, what was it, 1820? There was a huge meteor shower and stuff. The early 1800s, big Madrid fall earthquake and stuff. So is it really a different time period? Were they just trying to look like Romans, or were they Romans? That's where I'm at with this, guys. That is, were they trying to look like Romans, or were they actually Romans? That's just kind of where I'm at. Because so much of it looks so similar. And then you have this stuff going on. You know, why were people in the 1500s that we are told were scraping it with a few kings and queens and didn't have bathrooms doing stuff like this? Why? You know what I'm saying? And this had to have been red brick here. And then we are looking at this from some kind of a balcony or something with huge gold inlaid columns. Jesus ruling with a rod of iron is representative, I better show this, of the legs of iron statue of Nebuchadnezzar's dream in the book of Daniel. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know, because that's not really what it says in the book of Daniel. Let's look that up. I'm so glad that came up because I cannot spell. Because if we go through it, okay, we've got Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome here. And then we have the feet and toes of iron and clay. Remember? Before the rock comes and smashes it and makes a new kingdom. So I feel like we're in the iron and clay area, right? Because even though he has come, basically, and I know, if you go to a full preterist viewpoint, which I'm definitely not there yet, I may be someday, but at this point, I'm not. If you go to that full preterist viewpoint, then it's all already happened. And I have problems with that because I do believe that scripture is multifaceted and that it had a meaning at the time, but it also, and it has a spiritual meaning, but it also has a physical meaning. And so many of them do. So, we know what the physical meaning of this was, right? It still has spiritual meaning. So a preterist or somebody like that could go back and say, well, this was all spiritual. It meant that they were going to have a golden time period, that they were going to have a silver time period and a brass time period, and that these things were going to happen in a spiritual sense. I don't have a problem with that. I definitely believe it was spiritual, but I believe it was absolutely physical at the same time. We see evidence of it today. And what we're seeing today is evidence of we are in a great deception. And Jesus hasn't completely knocked the whole thing to pieces yet. So that's kind of where I'm at. There is also evidence that everything has been burned, and things like that too. So, if you take, pictures like this, which would be late, like maybe the revolutionary time period, around 1770-ish time periods, right? And you take that kind of stuff in the 1770s. And a lot of things, art came later on depicting those things, right? But what if everything was basically reset? What if the end of the quote unquote millennium was in 1890? What if it really all happened? What if the Madrid fault line earthquake and the meteor shower and all of that kind of stuff, what if all of that actually happened in 1890 or around that time period? And all of a sudden you had all of these babies popping up, whether it be, like people popping up out of the ground or, out of the grave or whatever. And you all of a sudden have people trying to move into areas and stuff that have been decimated by whatever, to me, it looks more like, less like the Gog and Magog happened type of thing. I'm not saying more like Satan being released, and as his third of the angels are, I'm assuming, released with him and hit the ground burning. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, what has been shall be. There's no new thing under the sun. Exactly. Exactly. There's such a, I mean, here we have some depictions of art. Okay. They're showing a carving. This is a coin, I'm assuming. This is a statue. This is a drawing. And here's a drawing or a depiction, right? Wait a minute. What if we took and found a Babylonian coin, a Greek coin? You know what I'm saying? If we did a Babylonian coin, a Persian coin, they're not comparing apples to apples here. And I think we end up doing this so much. Oops. Sorry, guys. We do this so much. So, okay, let's do this. Babylonian coin. I so cannot spell. Don't come at me. What are you? There's different time periods. It's not saying what they all are, but interesting. Okay. Zeus, Hera. No, that's Greek gods. Okay, here's a Babylonian stamp, seal. Okay, that's what we would expect to see from Babylonia. Okay, and you compare that to like Roman coins and things like that. You know, you've got a different, ooh, look at those. You've got a different style, right? And then if we go to, well, let's do Persian coin. Yeah. Coin. Persian. A Persian coin. Okay. This makes sense. Interesting. See what I'm saying? And then if we do, and of course, we've seen Greek and Roman coins. So if we do one statue, a Babylonian statue, is going to be this one right here, right? Something along those lines. This type of thing. These Babylonian, right? And then if we do Persian statue, what are we going to find here? I mean, there is a difference, you know, but these are time periods that the Bible has given us. And we still see different art styles, right? But we also know that we've seen stuff like this. Wow, that's interesting. All over the world to an extent, right? Okay, Persian. And then, of course, we know the Greek statue is going to look, wow, like that is what we think of whenever we think Greek, or that, right? Now, the clothing style, again, all right. So then, well, that's interesting. And then let's see, what was the other thing that they had? A Babylon mosaic. So here's a Babylonian mosaic. I mean, we're talking the whole bricks, and I mean, this is famous. The Ishtar Gate, right? That's Babylonian. And we see this kind of stuff in different places, not just in Babylon, right? Was it Jeremiah that I don't remember Jeremiah falling asleep and waking up 40 years later? I don't know. No, I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe Emmy might be able to answer that. Let's see. So then we go Persian. Let's see. Look how intricate these are. I mean, you know, that's a book cover, but it's off of that same. There's like a whole temple or something that is got that mosaic stuff that's just amazing. That's Persian. Ah, here we go. I mean, just amazing stuff, right? Look at that. I don't know where that is, but that's gorgeous. And then, does this not remind you right here of some of the early colonial art? Oh, foreign art. Let me see if I can find the stuff. I don't think that's exactly what I'm going for. But they had a lot of motifs. Art motif. See? Okay, we've got colonial and we have these motifs. Doesn't that look somewhat like some of the Persian stuff? That's kind of ridiculous. That says that's colonial area company. East India Company. Indian painting technique style. That's Persian, guys. I'm sorry. There's no way, shape, or form that I am going to believe that these little dudes here created this. Any? Did she say that? I didn't listen to it. I was so busy during the whole 2020 debacle that I was not paying attention to what nationwide stupidity was going on. I was really not. Oh, let's see what else I've got. Here's another piece of art. You've got these buildings, and then you have these huge things. You've got something else up on the top here. Something going on there. I don't know what that is. These amazing sleeves, which do not seem realistic to me. Ah, oh, poor horsey fell in the water. That's given a 1400s-ish time period. Fighting a dragon. Looks like a gator or something. Fighting another dragon. I mean, how many women are actually going to be running around with their skirts trailing behind them in the mud? That almost look like, I mean, that right there almost looks like block. You got something going on up here. So, why would you build a castle up like that? And that almost looks like a dragon's head right there or something. And I may be seeing things. I'm an imaginative person, so lots going on here. Got your different creatures. People under the altar. People on the ground here. Doors falling off. Lots going on. These things. And did they just have amazing imaginations? Or was there something going on here? I don't know what the story is with some of this stuff, but why would you draw something like that and inlay part of it with gold just to be imaginative? It does not make sense to me. And were they depicting so many of these people in robes because that's actually all they wore for years and years and years and years, thousands of years, and then all of the sudden started putting buttons and buckles on things? I mean, I'm just wondering. Because, oh, look at the size of this. This dude here is honking big. There's a little bitty, and I know there's perspective. He could be way far away, and his little churchy house could be way far away. But, oh my goodness. Yeah, I know that the Geneva Bible commentary said that the millennial reign ended around the 1500s, but I also know that there was a discrepancy in the timeline in the 1500s, and then there's also a discrepancy in the timeline in the was it the 1800s? No, maybe it was further back in the 13. There's several discrepancies in the timeline. So if the millennial reign went, I don't know, from 70 AD to 1070 AD, because I think it was a literal 100 or 1,000 years. I know Shelley's toying with the preterist view that it didn't have to be a literal 1,000 years. But I think it was a literal 1,000 years. I've just looked at the words and the etymology and the Greek and the Hebrew in that, and I don't know. The Vikings were Gog and Magog. I don't know, because the Russians think they are Gog and Magog. So there's that. They could be. But what if the millennial reign began around 70 AD and ended around 1070 AD, and then they just called it 1490 or 1470 AD? What if they just added that time period on there and then they jiggled it here and there? I don't know. I'm just kind of, this is from the 1500s, that one, and look at all of the detail in all of this. I mean, there's just a lot going on in some of this stuff. So maybe, but then what are we given the short season? Because if the short season is another 1,000 years, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense if that's Michael and the dragon there. Another girl with her unicorn. Lots going on here. This was interesting. I know nothing about it. That's the only thing I don't like about Pinterest is I can't go and look at where this is coming from and what time period they put on it. But isn't that interesting? You've got palm trees over here. You've got two rivers going on. You've got these boats on the river and all of these circular cities. And how often do they even show them as like star forts? This is a good depiction of castles on top of something else. You know what I'm saying? It looks like it's definitely on top of something else. And then you've got all of these. Wonder what's going on there. I mean, because if all you've got is basically horses and donkeys and stuff, why would you? I mean, I know they try to tell it was for defense and stuff, but if we believe that this was built in the millennial reign, if that's where we're putting these being built, what was the purpose then of building these in these impossible to build places? Just because you could? You know what I'm saying? And what happened to all of that technology from even before the millennial reign? The Brothers Grimm fairy tales came to us in the early 15th century, which would be the 1400s. And these horrible stories were not from the millennial reign, right? But are they really that old? Or are they older? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not sure, guys. And just because they depicted fabric hanging the way they depicted it doesn't mean that's the way it was. I mean, you know, because you can be artistic about things. This looks like it could be, you know, wool and linen going on there. It looks like they're depicting wool. This does not look like they're depicting wool to me. But why would people in the millennial reign have these amazing buildings and not have and be still wearing just robes? You know what I'm saying? And slippers that don't seem very practical. Does that assume that the timeline we've been given is correct? I don't know. About the Grimm's fairy tales, maybe? I don't know. That's an interesting piece. Wow. But see, okay, what time period are they giving that? We don't know. But look at the motifs and stuff on here. They kind of give you that Persian feel. This is saying 1857 to 1860-ish, that time period. So they're copying a Persian style in the 1800s, is what they say. Yeah, I'm not assuming that the Grimm fairy tales were done when they say they were done. Just like these things being built in this being done in the 1800s. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it was. I'm not saying it couldn't have been, but not with what we're told that they had, right? And okay, when did Satan come out, and when did he take all of um the technology away from us? Because that's what I'm assuming has happened, right? That technology has been taken away from us, so we can't really do this kind of stuff anymore. Did we lose it ourselves, or was it taken away? Because, I mean, look at that. There's a lot of intricate detail in this kind of stuff. You know, you see what I'm saying? And then for some reason, I am not finding some of the depictions that I was looking, that I actually found medieval things with buttons. Brass buttons. Those definitely look older. I mean, buttons aren't that hard to make. These are cloth buttons. They're not hard to make. You can make buttons. You can carve buttons out of... I mean, who wants to stand there and lace their clothes every single day? You know what I'm saying? Those look like bone buttons. There was a lot of ways to have buttons, and they had buttons. We know they had buttons, but the art that they are trying to show you, this is 13th century buttons. Okay. Can we do Roman? So are we going to sit here and say that the Romans didn't have buttons? Roman button and loop fastener. There you go. AD 50 to 100. So how much difference is that between some of those other buttons that we've seen? Okay. So why would you be wearing robes all the time if you've got buttons? You see what I'm saying? If there's a bunch of them. Old buttons, metal detecting finds from Spain, ancient Roman buttons. They had buttons, guys. They had very intricate buttons. There's your same little 5-pointed star type thing that we have today on our jeans. You know what I'm saying? So they had buttons. Let's see if we can look up Roman buckle. Roman buckles. Okay? They had buckles too. Roman 1st to 4th century buckles. They had buttons and buckles. All right? So why are we showing medieval people lacing everything? She's got buttons on, so she's showing a button scenario. But we're trying to depict them in stuff like this. So why would you go from buttons to buckles to laces and big squares of fabric? Because you couldn't afford anything else. And then go directly to so cannot spell. Go to this. 1600, all of the sudden, you've got all this pomp and circumstance. You're going from the medieval simplicity to kaboom. Nuking the North. All of what was Tartaria was absolutely centered and devastated landscape. Well, everything we're on is devastated. I mean, that's why I can't believe that we're not, that all of Revelation's over and that we're out of the short season, is because we're living on a world that is basically a bunch of giant carcasses and devastated buildings, right? Melted buildings and stuff like that. And giant carcasses all over the place. So here we've got this fancy stuff. And I mean, it's not like there were only a few people that had this, because there are paintings and paintings, depictions and depictions of these fancy outfits that even the children were wearing. But then you go to, let's see, 1500 fashion. Okay, we've got the 1500s here. I like it whenever they do that. 13. So we had this, and then we're going forward to this. It doesn't look like something that in the 1300s was the millennial reign, and we were building these amazing buildings, but we were wearing this. You see what I'm saying? And then all of the sudden, in the 1500s, we went to this. You see the difference that I'm seeing here? And we quit building the snazzy stuff. I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm kind of stuck at the moment, is we've gone from robes. For thousands and thousands of years, people were wearing robes. And then all of a sudden, it just makes you think. So I don't know. I am convinced that we have been completely lied to about our timeline, and that there's a lot more to it than, boy, that's not helpful, than what we think. You know what I'm saying? And while the Geneva Bible that was supposedly in the 1500s, how do we know for sure that it was the 1500s? That's where I'm at. Or how do we know for sure that we're not in the 1700s right now instead of, you see where I'm saying? I mean, I may be full of it. I may be totally full of it. But nah, you give me I'm trying so hard to get my Scottish brogue, my hunky hubby. I would love to get him in a kilt. Girls, he has got sensational legs. And getting him in a kilt would be a dream come true. Oh, wow. Anyway. Robes is betting like the Scottish use their tartans. I mean, I don't know. Look at us today. And if we have, I mean, all over the world, even in the most primitive places in the world right now, what do people wear for the most part? Jeans and t-shirts. Jeans and t-shirts. That's what I've got on right now. Who in their right mind in these days would go back to just wearing a robe? I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't some people, in the Middle East or in Asia. I did see we have some Chinese people out here, and I did see a man at the airport at Liberal in his traditional, clothing. He had pants, and then his robe over the top and stuff. So I mean, you do see some of that occasionally with the, traditional clothing. But there wouldn't be much difference between that and me in the summertime wearing a pair of handmade, homemade capris and a cotton homemade top. I made a lot of little capri outfits for our children when they were little, like, little pants or shorts, the long shorts and stuff. So, I mean, but that's not what we gravitate toward for the most part. And I realize if we're going to like go get family pictures done or something, we're going to maybe dress up a little bit more. A lot of people these days are just going to wear their jeans and t-shirts in family photos too. Whereas in the 80s, everybody would go put on a dress with puffy sleeves and big collars and get our hair all done in a way that we don't wear it every day. You were going to do something different. So I understand that setting for some of these paintings and things, they were going to dress up fancier, right? But a lot of times, the scenes that they were doing and things, why were these people running around in the mud in areas that looked like they were devastated? And some of the paintings and things that were shown in that other people are showing, why would you be in skirts that were dragging in the mud like that and stuff? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So artistic license just to make things look cool in the art, I get that. Realistically, the time periods that we're trying to put all of that in, I'm like, why can't it be different artistic styles at different times? If we went back, I mean, today, if you look at art, I think most of it's junk. So I'll just say what's considered art today, I just don't. But if you went back to like the 70s, 1970s, and you look at different art styles in the 1970s, there was a big variety of art styles at that time because they were trying to really show, their individuality during that time. So there was a lot of different art styles, and you could pull from any of these time periods into that art. So if you could do that in one decade, then what makes it an absolute that what we've been told is 100 years of art couldn't be a decade? That's what I'm wondering. Martin Liedtke did a show in a manuscript from a priest. I'll show this to everybody. In the 1600s, speaking of the miracle snow, as if he'd never seen it before. Yeah, Martin, if he could keep his mouth clean, I would watch a lot more of his stuff. And he's gone through times of trying, because anytime I watch a video and he's really trying to watch his mouth, I will thank him in the comments. And he's always so polite, calling, he calls me ma'am and all of that. He's also always so very polite. And he brings up some of the most interesting stuff. And I thought about digging through the archives today, and here I am at 2 hours I can't believe you guys are still with me. It's amazing. Thank you so much for giving input and stuff, Eric. It is helpful. And it helps to have people to kind of bounce this stuff off of. Because I know Martin's got his ideas. He believes that the pyramids, tell me if I'm wrong here, but I do believe that he believes the pyramids were the arcs. Like there wasn't just one ark with Noah on it, but that's what the pyramids were for. And he's said something along those lines before. I think the pyramids were, power stations. And that these cathedrals and stuff were receivers to an extent. Conductors or something along those lines. So I totally believe that when Jesus was here on this earth, not even the millennial reign, just whenever he was born and actually walked on this earth before the crucifixion, that they had electricity and flying apparatuses and technology that we don't comprehend today or put in that time period. And so if you can take yourself and you can realize that some of the amazing architecture and stuff that we have today was there then. They had amazing architecture. They had giants and dragons. And you know what I'm saying? So if we will pull ourselves out of fantasy land and where, the princess and the knight in armor and the dragons and all of that is all fantasy. If we can pull ourselves out of that and put ourselves into hey, this stuff actually did exist. Some of the depictions of it and stories could be fantasized and stretched and, I flourished like that fish that gets bigger every year, right? When you go fishing. Just because you have buttons doesn't mean you have to use buttons. That's true. I never wear anything needing to. You will see me with my button-up shirts on, but I wear them as jackets. So I get that. And I would prefer jeans that have elastic waist because comfort. So yeah, no, I get that. But we're not running around in robes either. Floor length robes at that. You know what I'm saying? This is Oklahoma. And I love wearing dresses and skirts. Okay. I am a girly girl. And I love dresses and skirts. But this is Oklahoma. I live on a farm. Oklahoma wind blows 50 miles an hour. A lot. And if I need to go out and help with the animals or something, me getting out there trying to do something realistic in 50 mile an hour wind does not make sense in a skirt, a dress, or a robe. It doesn't make sense. So if you're talking about people actually living their lives and doing their thing, what are they going to be wearing? And I realize not every place is Oklahoma and not every place has all this wind and dust and wind and dust and tornadoes and things like that. And I'm sure that I know that the weather is worse today than what it has been. It's worse today than it was in my childhood. I've slept through a lot of tornadoes in my life. But the weather, even just this year, is worse than I ever remember it. And the 70 and 80-year-olds out here in this area who have lived here all of their lives are saying that it's worse than it's ever been. Okay? So we've got things going on in the world. The world is in birth pains. Our earth is having labor pains. I absolutely believe that. Things are not as they were meant to be. And which is another reason that I do not believe that we're past the short season. So yeah, the wind blows harshly, and the temperature will go from 90 degrees to 40 degrees in a matter of hours, if not minutes. Sometimes it's been crazy, which is part of the reason that my because every time that happens, my body revolts. So yeah, I mean, were those robes just long t-shirts? I mean, were they wearing t-shirts and jeans and it just looks like tunics and skinny pants? Was it actually tunic t-shirts and skinny jeans instead? I mean, maybe it was. Anyway, I don't know if you guys got anything out of this. I cannot believe I have rambled on for 2 hours, but I appreciate every single one of you who has popped in here. I really do. And yeah, it's been a beautiful day today, actually. I hate the heat. The older I get, the less I can handle the heat. I don't like the cold, but it could stay in the 60s and 70s all year long with a nice 5 to 10 mile an hour breeze for the rest of my life, and I'd be fine. I'm just there. Anyway, yeah, I think I've gone plenty long enough. I think this is the longest video I have ever done. You guys are amazing. If you have tried to visit the group, I've got a group on my own platform now that because I'm trying to get away from the censorship. So I have my own platform. I'm starting my own group. It's similar to like a Facebook group, but it's on my own platform. We've had a lot of problems with the platform. There are a lot of platforms that have had problems the last few weeks. Okay, I'll put it that way. Not just our platform. And there's just been a lot of things going on. We may not have the internet much longer. I don't know. It's like things are breaking. But we're doing the best we can to try to get things. So if you haven't been able to get to like the magazine or the platform or whatever, hopefully it's fixed. For some reason, you have to have the www dot before the DonnieDeFogelman.com situation in order to get to the community and stuff. So if you've been having problems, that's part of the reason. On prairiedusttrail.com. So you should be able to get to everything from there. And I did put the group community thing up there. So if you want a link to that to join it, it's free to join the group right now. I'm putting some like little courses up, and I'm going to eventually have like tiers, kind of like the Patreon thing. I like Patreon, but I forget to get on Patreon and do things, and I need to do something with my Patreon members. So I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. And I will get on there and we'll have a face-to-face party on Zoom sometime soon or something so that I can visit with you guys all and we can hash things out. But anyway, hopefully life will quit exploding on me and we can get on with things. So anyway, thank you so much for everybody that stayed. And if you have any other input or anything, please do email me at donita@prairiedusttrail.com. I always appreciate, and I do try to look at everything. If you send pictures or something, and I usually run it by Shelly, and some of you send stuff to Shelly too. So we kind of go back and forth with that. So anyway, and hopefully now that she has her grandbaby, congratulations, Shelly, we can have another 10 Hat Tot soon. Hopefully so. So if there is anybody else that you would like to see me visit with, let me know. And maybe I can get some more guests on. And anyway, I am going to shut up now Remember, you can make it through the dust storms of life with God's divine help. And I love you all. Bye.